Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a world that powers, well, everything around us, but it often goes completely unnoticed. We're talking about maintenance engineering. And trust me, it is not what you think it is.
No, really, take a second. What's the very first image that pops into your head when you hear that word? For most of us, it's probably something pretty specific, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's something like this. A person in overalls, maybe a little grease on their face, rushing in with a giant wrench to fix a machine that's just ground to a halt. It's this reactive, boots-on-the-ground, problem-solving image. And look, while that's definitely part of it, it's like describing an entire iceberg by just showing the tiny bit that's sticking out of the water.
So to get a look at what's really going on underneath the surface, we're journeying to this absolute beast of a book, the Maintenance Engineering Handbook. This thing is not a simple repair manual, not by a long shot. It's a guide to an entire discipline that, and this is no exaggeration, keeps our modern world from completely falling apart. It reveals a much, much deeper reality.
But right off the bat, the handbook just completely reframes our entire understanding of the topic. It argues that maintenance isn't just a task you do. It's a combination of three really distinct ways of thinking.
I mean, this quote just elevates the whole concept, doesn't it? It's a science because it relies on hard data and proven principles. It's an art because it needs skill and intuition that you just can't learn from a textbook. And most importantly, it's a philosophy because the way a company approaches maintenance, that reveals its core values and, honestly, it determines its long-term success.
So here's the more official definition, and the phrase you gotta lock onto is good operating order. See, this isn't just about fixing things that are broken. It's about making sure they never break in the first place. That totally flips the mission from being reactive to being proactive. It's a huge shift.
And this just brilliantly shows you how big the scope is. The primary functions, yeah, that's kind of what we'd expect, right? Repairing things, inspections, but look at those secondary functions. Managing the entire inventory of spare parts, plant security, getting rid of waste, even helping with insurance administration. It's a massive, massive operational responsibility.
So with a job description this wide, you can't just have a few people running around with toolboxes. You need a highly organized team. You need an effective structure for this, well, this unseen army of engineers and technicians.
So the handbook lays out two main ways to go about it. On one hand, you've got a centralized model. That's where one single group serves the entire facility. It's great because it makes dispatching people easier and you can have more specialized supervisors. On the other hand, you could have a decentralized model, where you actually embed maintenance teams within specific departments. That cuts down on travel time and those teams get to know their equipment inside and out.
And you could actually see what that looks like on paper here. On the left, that's your classic centralized structure. The maintenance boss reports up a single engineering chain of command. But on the right, you see a hybrid model. You've got a central shop for the big jobs, but also smaller area shops that give dedicated on-the-spot support. A lot of big places end up using a compromise, just like this.
You know, regardless of the org chart, managing the teams on the ground comes down to a really key ratio. The handbook suggests there's a kind of magic number. One foreman can effectively lead about 12 to 15 people. If you give them any more than that, their ability to actually plan, train, and lead starts to fall apart.
Okay, so you've got your army organized. Now what? What's the game plan? What are the guiding strategies that turn maintenance from just another cost on a spreadsheet into a real competitive advantage?
So here it is, the fundamental choice that every single organization has to make. Do you practice preventive maintenance, where you're proactively scheduling work to stop failures before they happen? Or do you just rely on breakdown maintenance, basically waiting for something to fail and then reactively fixing it? And while, yeah, emergencies are always going to happen, a strategy that's built on just waiting for things to break is almost always way more expensive and disruptive.
But the philosophy goes even deeper with this idea. Preventive engineering. This is like the ultimate proactive step. It's not just about preventing one specific failure, it's about analyzing why failures are happening in the first place and then redesigning the system to completely eliminate that cause. It's about learning from every single breakdown and getting smarter.
And of course, which strategy you pick has a massive economic impact. I mean, think about this. The handbook says a company will spend anywhere from 7 to 15% of its equipment's total value on maintenance every single year. That's huge. So getting the strategy right isn't just an operational choice, it's an absolutely critical financial one. To manage all of this, you need a system. This isn't about just yelling for the nearest person with a wrench. A formal work request gets created. It's routed to a central point for planning and analysis. Then it's scheduled, it's dispatched, and finally, the results are fed back into the system. It's a continuous loop of data and action that brings order to potential chaos.
So let's bring all this together. When we really look past that old stereotype of the mechanic with a wrench, we see a discipline that is absolutely essential to our modern lives.
Here's the big takeaway. Maintenance isn't just a repair service. It is a strategic, data-driven, and highly analytical engineering discipline. It is the silent engine that is keeping our factories, our infrastructure, and our entire economy running safely and efficiently.
You know, the handbook's own preface puts it perfectly. It describes itself as a guide in the tempestuous battle of maintenance. That language, battle, I love that because it captures the constant, high-stakes effort it takes to hold back entropy and just keep things working.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you can see the hidden complexity behind something that seems as simple as maintenance, what other invisible systems, what other unseen armies are out there working all around you right now to keep your world running smoothly?